A couple of weeks ago, I made a donation goal on my live streams and said that if it was met, one of the things I would do is an Ask Me Anything. And the last time I did any sort of questionnaire thing was when I hit 1,000 subs, and I usually tend to be able to communicate pretty well with people during streams, so I wasn't sure if any questions would come in, but needless to say, one, the donation goal was met thanks to these awesome people. Thank you guys. You totally didn't have to do that, so it was really cool. But yeah, questions definitely came in, so let's get to it. Hey y'all, if you don't know me for some reason, I can't imagine why you'd be watching this and not know who I am, but if you don't, I'm the Geek Apprentice, and yeah, I posted a couple of pictures, one on my community tab on YouTube and one on my Instagram, and said comment below, ask me anything, but I have reserved the right to not answer if I deem it too personal, political, or perverted, the 3 Ps, or if I just don't get to it or don't want to or whatever. And people who were patrons, Citizen of the Magic Kingdom tier and higher, they had priority access via a specific tab in my private Discord, so yeah. Let's get to the questions. Let's just go. And y'all submitted some cool questions, so I'm excited to get this going, but we gotta start with those patrons, alright. Sushi Bandit had a few questions. A really good burger or a slightly below average steak? Okay, I'm not actually that big of a steak person. Maybe I just haven't had an awesome one, but I prefer a burger. So I would say I'd take the really good burger, as long as it's just the patty with cheese and I guess sugar-free ketchup and some bacon, so yeah, that's my answer. He also asks, does pineapple belong on pizza? Not on my pizza. It can go on someone else's, just not on mine. FryGuy asks, which video game or games would you like to see remade for the Switch? Good question. There are a lot of things I would like to see ported, but as far as what I want to see remade, Skyward Sword in HD, make it so that either you can mirror it and do it left-handed motion control, because that's why I couldn't play it. I had trouble being left-handed. Other left-handers didn't, but I did. Whatever, just me. Or make it so that we don't have to do motion controls, you know? Just an idea. So I'd like that, and also Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, but mainly Banjo-Kazooie. Have it remastered and everything really, really nice, like what they did for Rare Replay, whatever they call it on the Xbox. That would be great. Microsoft, Nintendo, you're already working together. Come on, make it happen. FryGuy also asks if I am superstitious. No, I am not. However, I won't say Macbeth in a theater, not because I'm superstitious, but because I guess it's just kind of tradition and I like kind of following it. Now, if someone does say it or I say it, I'm not gonna freak out. But Gus asks, which 3 countries would you like to visit someday? I tried to pare this down to 3, but I have to go with 4. I'm so sorry. In no particular order. Austria, because I do speak some German, if you've seen my Duolingo streams, because I took it in college. So Austria, Ireland, I would love to go to Ireland, and then the 2 that I was torn between picking one or the other is Sweden, because I have a lot of Swedish ancestry, and also Iceland, because of the Black Shore beaches. I think those are they have like black sand, and I just think that looks really cool. I just would love to visit all 4 of those places, many other places too, but those particularly for both like the ancestral culture of them and how pretty they are. So yeah. He also asked, which Broadway musical would you like to be in, and which role would you like to play? Anyway, fun fact, not fun fact actually, I'm not a fan of musicals. Like, I'll watch them. I mean, Disney doesn't count. Disney's different to me. And I do have to thank watching a musical, a big musical that was traveling around and came to my city. I do have to thank that one for giving me like that push to start looking into musical theater, and thus eventually theater and acting and voice acting and everything. That was part of the upward spiral, because it was a good thing. But even though I have been singing forever, I've been dancing, a trained dancer, and I am a trained actress, I don't like musicals. I just don't. It's a long explanation, but I will say this. I have 2 answers for this. One is, yeah, it's probably never going to happen just because it would be really difficult for it to happen. And the other one is like, no, it's legitimately, I couldn't do this part or be in this musical. The big one, the one that's like definitely impossible, I would love to be in The Lion King on Broadway. I like just ensemble, just someone in the back, just to be on the stage with them. That would be so cool. But one, I have no puppetry skills, and two, my ethnic background is very much Swedish, Irish, and German, and Lion King takes place in Africa, so that would be kind of weird if I was in it. That wouldn't make any sense. So that's never gonna happen, but if it could, that would be cool. The other one would be Les Miserables, which I guess is more of an opera, and I know that's like, oh, even when you don't know musicals, everyone knows Les Mis. Okay, I like it. Sue me. But I would definitely want to play either Eponine or Fantine. Everyone pegs me as Cosette, which is fine. But I would take anything, really. But maybe not one of the lovely ladies. I don't know if I could stomach that. But that's my answer. JokingBatman asks, was there a specific person that made you want to become a voice actress? Okay, I would love to some point if there was an interest, if I ever did and ask me anything in the future, I don't know, go into the whole reason why I got into voice acting, because it's actually a decently long story. Same with dance, and just kind of how everything came to be as it is now. There wasn't necessarily a specific voice actor or voice actress that made me go, yeah, I'm gonna do voice acting. There was a lot of little things, but if there was someone who kind of piqued my interest and made me go, huh, I've never actually thought about that before. You know, and this was before I did my first voice acting gig at my university, which made me realize that I could potentially do it. But the first one that made me start thinking about it is this dude that was on America's Got Talent. I mean, I don't like America's Got Talent anymore, but I liked his audition. It was Daniel Ferguson. He did voice impressions to Caked by the Ocean. Is that what that song's called? I don't know. Anyway, I saw it and I thought, this is really cool. And I don't know, it piqued my interest. And then the next semester I went to school, we ended up doing a radio play, so that spiral effect. So he didn't necessarily make me go, yeah, I want to do voice acting, but it piqued my interest. Nick asks, favorite book of the Bible / verse. I tried so hard to pick a book. Even when I pared it down to New Testament, Gospel, and Old Testament, so 3 books, couldn't do it. I just love so many of them. However, for verse, there are 2. The first is 1 Peter 5:7, cast all your anxiety upon him because he cares for you. And these change every few years for me, depending on what I'm going through. But also 1 Thessalonians 5:11, which is therefore encourage one another as indeed you do. And there's a verse similar to that in Romans. I want to say 10:19. That's like, let us then pursue what leads to harmony and yeah, things like that. So encouraging one another, that type of thing. So that's what I'm going with. If you ask me again in like 1 or 2 years, it'll probably change slightly. I don't know. He also asks, what is your dream project? Okay. There's dream projects for many different things. As far as dancing is concerned, I have a lot of like little random ideas in my head, but something I would love to do after listening to a bunch of different covers and variations of Zelda songs that people have made that are really, really awesome, especially like violin ones like Taylor Davis. I think Taryn Harbridge has done some Zelda covers, or Aimir Noon. Someone told me about their group. I've had this idea for like a big Zelda dance production. Not the same thing as a fanfiction, not the same thing as making a movie or TV show. People say that to me and I'm like, no, it's not. That tells the story in dance form. But that's like a pipe dream. That would never happen. I mean, I shouldn't say never. That would be something I would love to do if I had excellent dancers and all of the necessities. I don't want subpar dancers doing this. Like, it would need to be go big or go home. Another dream project is writing a book, a fantasy book, which I have done little snippets of random things and nothing ever clicked, but there's something I'm working on right now, which I've been working on for months. Like, I have no plot, I don't have the story, I just have a couple of characters that I really like, and I've been writing random chapters, and yeah, probably will take 10 years, maybe never, I don't know. So those are probably the 2 biggest ones. Those are dream projects. I have goals in life, but they're not projects, so I'll leave it at that. What are you proud of but never have an excuse to talk about? I like to think I've been given ample chances to relish in the things that I'm proud of. I would say a couple of things, and they're both from my senior year of college. The first one was a dance production that I did at my university. It was the first and only one I've ever done. And I'm so grateful to all of those dancers, especially my 2 other leads with me. I won't say their names, we'll just call them R and Z. They, if it weren't for them, and them committing to being principal dancers for it, I don't know if I could have made it happen. So I was really proud of that, and it turned out really well. There's a lot of things I'd like to do differently in hindsight, but that's always how it is. Same with the other thing I'm very proud of, which is my 1 act, which I directed my senior year. Not that I wrote, but at my university, you work all 4 years to directing a 1 act. It's a huge thing. The only thing you don't do is stage manage and act in it. I mean, obviously I had help. I had the ideas for everything, but other people did hair and makeup, and oh my gosh, so grateful. I'm really proud of that. I wish I had done my lighting differently. My lighting stunk, but those were just 2 very big projects that I pretty much did like most of the ideas on my own, and that's not to be like, oh, I did it all myself. I had tons of help. I had wonderful people in my life helping me and keeping me sane and working with me. But they were things that I oversaw. They were mainly me. I don't want that to sound prideful, but I am really proud of those. And as difficult as senior year was for me, to have those 2 things on a pedestal, like, look, these happened, like, I helped, like, I mean, I ran them, but, like, yeah, because I don't want to take too much credit. I mean, I got graded on the 1 act, so I was very stressed about that, but it went well, so I'm very proud of those 2 things. And another fun one, Nick says, if you were a superhero, what superpower would you want? On the flip side, if you were a supervillain, what superpower would you want? Superhero, it would have to be 2 combined. I would say invincibility, not invisibility. Invincibility, the ability to not get hurt. If only it worked emotionally. Just kidding. I like that I'm empathetic. It's difficult though. But it would have to be paired with being able to breathe and swim really well underwater, so I could explore the oceans to my heart's content and not have to worry about getting hurt. So that would be that. I would be a terrible superhero though, because I like to think that I can be humble and help other people, but if I had those abilities, I'd be using them all for myself. I'm not charitable enough to be a superhero, I don't think. On the flip side, like you said, supervillain, I think it's less what power I would want as much as it is something I would want to get rid of in myself. This sounds really terrible, but if I had to be a supervillain, which I wouldn't, I would need to lack empathy. I mean, there are empathetic villains, and they think they're doing the right thing. You know, like Thanos, where it's like, he really believes he's doing the right thing. For me to do something that's considered wrong, or that I believe is wrong, well, I guess they don't believe what they're doing is wrong, but in order to fit that stereotype, I can't have feelings. I can't have emotions, because that stops me most of the time from doing things that are wrong. I would have to have no empathy. I would basically have to be a sociopath or psychopath. In layman's terms, like broad spectrum. I know there are people that live just fine in society that have those disorders or those personality types, so just throwing that out there. That got dark. Okay, moving on. Retro Cheats asks, what inspired you to make your YouTube channel? Which someone else asked this too, and I think Retro asked it so that it definitely got answered because he's a patron. This is weird. I was watching Jesse's channel when I first started, which, if you don't know, I'm on their podcast sometimes, and I do narrations for him. It's really awesome. He's cool. If you know my stuff, you should know his stuff. Anyway, I was watching his stuff, and this is when I was thinking about getting into voice acting, so I thought about getting a good Blue Yeti mic, which I got from eBay for cheap. And I had been watching different YouTube channels, and I was like, I have a lot that I would like to talk about, but I didn't want it to be just Zelda. I wanted it to be a few different things. And I knew it would take a while for me to figure out what I was doing, but eventually I just kind of started randomly recording videos, and the first thing I noticed is I needed a better camera because I just had that microphone, and then I had to get my web camera, and it was really random. It was just kind of like, I have things I want to talk about. I like editing videos. Let me try this. I'm not going to bank on getting any money out of it. I don't want to live like that personally. So it was really just kind of random drop of the hat. Let's try this. I like talking. Let's go for it. I like discussing things. So yeah, that's probably not a satisfactory answer, but it's what I got. And I know, Retro, you had another question, but it was a little bit complicated. Well, for me to answer, And I was like, I can't answer that in a YouTube video. So maybe during a live stream I'll talk about it. So yeah. Alright, turning to the YouTube questions. Do you think Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie will come out on the Nintendo Switch? I hope so, Bobby. I really hope so. Andres, what initially inspired you to start your YouTube channel? I just answered that. Faceless Enigma. So many questions to ask. Which Hogwarts house are you and what is your wand type? I am Ravenclaw, if you couldn't tell. Someone else asked this too on Instagram. I'm Ravenclaw, if you can't tell. My wand type, I'd have to look it up, but I know has a unicorn hair core. But I can't, and I want to say it's 10 inches, something like that. And the wood, it wasn't dogwood. I can't remember. I'll put it in the description below if I look it up and find it. And Soup Knight. Favorite Pokemon game? Pokemon Snap. Favorite dragon and character from How to Train Your Dragon? Toothless isn't obvious, but for me, Stormfly, and as far as character, I love Astrid the most, but I'm most like Hiccup. Favorite TV show? Probably tie between Dragon's Race to the Edge, as well as Blue Planet Seas of Life, because I'm weird. Favorite game? Changes all the time. I'll go with Animal Crossing right now. Also, do you play the mobile game Rise of Berk? After I saw your question, I downloaded it, but I have yet to play it. Now moving on to Instagram, Damien asks, which is your favorite Link? While this is not my favorite Zelda game, although it's an excellent game, I would say Twilight Princess Link. I'll go with that. And then from Reese, which 2 franchises would you like to see crossover? Could be silly, could be real. Okay, this is like a mix of silly, but also I think it could be really interesting, but it's impossible, and I'll explain why. I would like to see the world of Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings come together. But I would only want to see it happen if J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis did it, which obviously is impossible. But the reason I think that is because they were best friends. J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, or at least they were very good friends. They were constantly talking, having like good, friendly debates with each other about different things. They really played off of each other really well. And I see those similarities in their works. Very different, but also similarities. I'm sure many can agree. So I think it'd be cool to have those worlds come together, especially since their respective authors, were so close too. Alright, I answered a ton of questions. If you ever have more questions, just join a live stream. I like to think, pretty good at seeing all the comments and answering. So yeah, if this is your first time watching my stuff, I talk about Zelda and Harry Potter and How to Train Your Dragon and Disney and other stuff, so you can check out videos like these if you want. But that is all for today. Thanks for asking and thanks for watching.